All right, let's jump right in. We all know the story from the beginning of the Bible, right? We've read it for generations as one single story. But what if we've been missing something? What if Genesis is actually holding a deeper mystery? A story not of one human creation, but two? Seriously, what if all those little things that seem like inconsistencies, what if they aren't contradictions at all? What if they're actually clues? We're going to explore this idea that the Bible kicks off with a puzzle that's been hiding in plain sight, a mystery that might just explain that spiritual tug of war that every single one of us feels inside. So, where does this puzzle even start? Well, it starts by just taking a really close look at the first two chapters. On the surface, they seem to be telling the same story, but when you get into the details, man, are they different. Okay, so you've got Genesis chapter 1. The whole thing reads like this epic cosmic poem. You have this majestic God, Elohim, who just speaks and bam, a universal humanity appears. They're made in the divine image, male and female, created at the same time. There's no specific name, no single place, just this pure divine reflection. It's like a humanity made of light. But then you flip the page to chapter 2, and the whole vibe changes. The pace just slows right down. The story gets super intimate, really grounded. A man isn't just spoken into being, he's formed from the dust of the earth. He's put in a very specific garden that has boundaries. And the woman? She's not made alongside him, she's drawn from inside him. It's a humanity of dust. See? This isn't just repeating the story, it's drawing a clear distinction. So if these aren't just two versions of the same event, what's going on? Well, the first clue, and it's a big one that people usually skim right over, is hidden in the very name that's used for God. In chapter 1, the creator is called Elohim. That's a name that speaks of transcendence, of raw power, this all-encompassing force. But in chapter 2, the name suddenly shifts to Yahweh Elohim, the Lord God. And Yahweh, that's the personal, up-close covenant name God uses when he's walking and talking with his people. That change is not an accident. It's signaling a fundamental shift in what kind of creation is being described. And you see that difference mirrored perfectly in the two humanities. The first one is a humanity of light, it's cosmic, it's complete. But the second, that's a humanity of dust. It's earthly, it's fragile, and it's immediately put into a situation with rules and consequences. You see the pattern? One is all about reflecting glory. The other is about confronting weakness. And when you lay it all out side by side like this, well, the pattern is just undeniable. You've got the majestic Elohim versus the relational Yahweh Elohim. You've got humanity made in God's image versus being formed from dust, a command to fill the entire earth versus living in one specific garden. Come on, these are not just two slightly different versions of one story. The text might be trying to tell us something incredibly profound that we just weren't ready to see before. Okay, so if this theory is legit, we should be able to find other clues, right? Little echoes of it somewhere else in the text. And you know what? We do. It starts with this absolutely terrifying moment right after the fall from Eden. So after Cain murders his brother Abel, God exiles him. And Cain's reaction is just pure terror. He cries out, "Whoever finds me will kill me." Now, that raises a really fascinating question. Think about it for a second. According to the traditional way we read the story, the only people on the entire planet are his parents, Adam and Eve. So who in the world is Cain so afraid of? His fear only makes sense if there was a world that was already populated outside of Eden's little family. And here's the kicker. God doesn't say, "Cain, don't be ridiculous. There's nobody else out there." Not at all. Instead, he completely validates the threat. He places a protective mark on Cain. By doing that, God basically acknowledges that, yep, there are other people out there. Maybe, just maybe, the forgotten children of that very first creation. And you know, this idea isn't some new out there theory. Ancient Jewish mysticism talks about Adam Kadmon, this primordial man made of pure light. There's Midrashic lore, that's ancient rabbinic commentary, that tells stories of Lilith, a wife Adam had before Eve who refused to be subservient. Gnostic texts talk about divine sparks being trapped in flesh. These are all ancient traditions echoing this idea of a duality, a split right at the beginning of humanity. So let's bring this home. Let's step away from the ancient text for a minute and talk about the mystery that is inside every one of us. Because this whole puzzle, it's not just about history. It's about the two creations that are alive and at war inside of you, right now. Ancient Hebrew thought actually had words for this. The nephesh,
That's the soul of dust. That's the atom of the second creation. It's bound to the body, to survival, to appetite and fear. But then there's the nesima. That's the divine breath from God. It's the echo of the first creation. It's the spirit within us that remembers light and just longs to surrender. The thing is, we're both.
And this isn't just an Old Testament thing. The Apostle Paul makes this unbelievably clear. He literally talks about two atoms, one from the earth, made of dust, and another from heaven. He's describing the exact two natures that are battling it out inside every person. And look, this isn't some abstract theological idea. You feel this every single day. That part of you that screams survive, take what's yours, be afraid, that's the atom of dust talking. And that quiet whisper that says surrender, trust, love, that's the echo of the humanity of light. Every single choice you make is a battleground between them. So, if this conflict is real, both in the Bible and inside us, where does that leave us? What's the resolution? Well, the good news is the story doesn't just end in a conflict. It points toward a beautiful reconciliation. This is the theological heart of it all. This is the bridge. Christ entered the creation of dust. He became flesh and blood in order to awaken the creation of light that's dormant inside of us. He didn't just come to save the man of dust. He came to reconcile the two natures and restore that original divine image. See, the goal isn't just to somehow get back into a garden. It's so much bigger than that. It's to be transformed into the kind of being that Eden was only a symbol for. It's about restoring that humanity of light, a promise that gets fulfilled in that vision of a new heaven and a new earth. That one verse from John's Gospel, it just captures the entire idea perfectly. The Word became flesh. The divine light became dust. The spiritual put on the physical. That is the ultimate act of reconciliation. It's the roadmap showing us how to get back home. So here's where it all lands, for you. The story of two creations isn't just some dusty old theological debate. It's about your identity, right now, today. You are both. You're the echo of what was lost, and you're the vessel of what can be restored. So the real question isn't where you came from. The question is, which nature are you choosing to become? Which one are you feeding?